Drink up. The irrigation water is about to catch the cows, but this is by design, of course, because this morning it's time for the cows to move. Oh boy, I don't want to touch that one. We made it. Callie, you stay. And actually, this pasture move will be one of the easiest if I can get these girls to go back in the corral. So now all I gotta do is close this gate and open this one. When I'm moving pastures, I have learned that you're really a lot smarter to open up this panel and not force them to walk through the cow sprayer. The problem with this is that it's really only wide enough to go one at a time, and when they're excited and they want to get going somewhere, you'll often get 2 or even 3 trying to go through at the same time, and that just doesn't work. Matter of fact, it's empty right now, needs to be filled up anyway. Okay, you want to come in now? Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. If you could bottle the enthusiasm of a dog, you'd be a rich man. In the last video, I tried the cut, wilt, graze model in this check and in another one over there as well. And I'm just kind of walking around, evaluating the results after 36 hours. From what I can see, they ate a lot of the stuff that got cut off, but they left a lot of it behind as well. And they seem to still show a preference for the green grass growing out of the ground. And what this has led to is, rather than them going and eating all of the dry grass that I cut off, they just came down here and picked this grass down to the ground even lower than I think they would have if we were just grazing it normally. So I'm still early in this, and maybe my opinion will change, but at this point I would say that if I am going to do some form of mowing the grass to kind of help control weeds, that I would rather mow it and bale it, because you look at this cut, wilt, graze method. After I take the cattle off of it, they've got this grass picked right down to the ground. And over here in the check right next door where I cut and baled the grass, you can see that this paddock looks much healthier after the cattle have grazed it for the same amount of time. And I think the big difference here is management, and that is because on this paddock that I cut and baled, it gets more time to recover. The schedule looks like this. The paddock gets grazed, it gets a month to recover. I cut and bale it, then it gets 2 more weeks to recover before it ever sees cattle again. Whereas over here, we're on the same grazing schedule once every 2 weeks, with the addition of getting mowed. So it could very well be that the secret sauce here is just having the cattle off of the paddock for a longer period of time. And, you know, if that's all it is, then that's pretty simple. Well, I got plenty to do today. There's not really gonna be one big thing, I don't think. It's gonna be a bunch of little things. And, you know, that's actually probably how most of my days are. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. Well, that ought to last for a couple days. Okay, honey. Shoo, shoo, shoo. No real change with the calf. I'm gonna give her another round of pain meds and give her a little bit more time, but yeah, it's not really looking good. Last but not least, we got a little probiotic here. Look at that. Didn't spill a drop. One of my younger viewers sent me a new nozzle for my diesel can because I'm always complaining about spilling diesel when I use it. Did not want his name to be known, but thank you. You know who you are. This worked great. It's the next day now. I wanted to wait until the morning to try to unhook this disc mower because disc mowers are notorious for being difficult to hook up and unhook. I actually haven't had much problem hooking this up to the tractor, but unhooking it can be a battle. And that is not specific to this mower, it's all disc mowers. In fact, what a lot of guys do is they hook these up to what is called a caddy, and that way you don't ever have to hook and unhook to the 3-point. You can then hook and unhook to the drawbar. Basically what a caddy is like a little trailer that the disc mower permanently attaches to, and then like I say, you hook the trailer up to the drawbar. You'd still need your PTO and hydraulics obviously, but it's a lot easier to do it that way. I know that a lot of you people watching use this equipment, so my question is a caddy worth it? Is it all it's cracked up to be? Would it be worth my time to make one? Let me know what you think. Oh man, we got lucky. Of course, I still got to get the other side, and I have a feeling a pry bar will be involved. There we got it. I am getting better at unhooking this as I do it more and more times, but still, the idea of a caddy is attractive. I wanted to get the tractor off of the disc mower because soon I'll need to hook it up to the baler when the hay is ready to bale. If you guys remember, I removed one of the hydraulic cylinders for the tailgate to rebuild it, and the seals are supposed to show up today. So we might get that done in this video. I'm not really sure, because the priority job of this morning is to fill this gearbox up with lube, get it back on the rake, and then run over and rake the hay that I cut. Well, maybe that was the last video. And I know what you're thinking. Shame on you, Tyler, for waiting until the day that you need the rake to put it back together. But I did that for two reasons. For one, I've been waiting for some lubrication to put in that gearbox. And for two, worst case scenario, I could always hook up to the other rake. I mean, what's the point of having two of them if you don't use the other one once in a while, right? What I've been waiting on for that gearbox is some of this John Deere corn head grease that many of you suggested I use. Back when I worked at the rice dryer, every once in a while, if I had a leaky seal, I would just pump the gearbox full of regular grease, and that seemed to work pretty good. But I know that this grease is actually designed to go in gearboxes, so I figured we'll give it a try. I did notice a bit of a problem when I was putting this all back together, and it's on this piece. I forget what they call this, like a star hub or something like that. Anyway, you see it, you know what it is. When I put this all back together, the hub here fits on the end of the gearbox, and the oil seal actually seals against this surface. And therein lies the problem. When you look where the oil seal is supposed to seal, I originally thought that this piece was machined this way, but when I loose fit everything together, I can see that it's not. This is actually worn down, and I think what causes that is grass or whatever getting wrapped around that shaft as it turns, and it kind of works its way in there, tearing up the oil seal. But also, if that grass has dirt or sand or something on it like that, something that's abrasive, or even just abrasive plant material, like for example rice straw is extremely abrasive. But what has happened over the years is it has worn this down to where the seal will no longer seal to it. So basically, if I just try to put regular gear oil in that gearbox, it's just gonna start dumping out the end. When you look at the end of the gearbox where that little star hub thing connects, you can actually see the roller bearing behind the seal. Gear oil will certainly get through that bearing. It's actually, you know, it's kind of designed to do that. So I think we're gonna have a leak here, whether we use grease or oil or whatever we use. We'll probably have a leak here until we can get this piece fixed. Now, if this happens to be cast steel, then I think what I could do is weld a little bead around the worn area, and then I would have to get access to a lathe and turn it back down to diameter. If it's cast iron, on the other hand, that's a little beyond my capability. And I think I'll be on the hook for a new hub to the tune of about $300, which, I don't know, I guess isn't all that much, but it's like half of what I paid for the rake. Another option is to just let it leak and top it off before each time I use it. I got this spindle nut on the gearbox and I'm kind of playing around with it, trying to set the preload. And it's kind of difficult to do, unlike the spindle on a trailer, for example. But just going off a feel, I think it feels pretty good. Looky there, we got one. If we got one, we should be able to get two. If we can get two, we can get them all. Man, what did I do to this? This is... There. Guess I got it tight. Let's get this filled up with grease, and then this thing should be ready for the field. We got the corn head grease in here, but there will still be some red grease in the tube, so I'll just go around and grease the other points on the rake until it turns green. Oh, look, it's already green. Well, I ended up putting the whole tube in there. I guess that'll be enough. Well, I think we're all ready to go, so let's head over there and see how dry the hay is, but I'm sure we can get started. One more thing before we leave. Okay, let's go. Looking around out here, you probably notice, like I do, that the rake really didn't do that great of a job in this field. It left a lot of hay sitting on the ground. I was messing around with the height, trying to get it dialed in, and I got it a little bit better, but what it really boils down to is the fact that this field is just so rough that as you go, the rake is bouncing and it's not staying at a consistent height above the ground because it's bouncing around so much, and I think that is the result. The good news is that I'll more than likely end up raking this one more time, possibly two more times, and in the process of doing that, I'm hoping that I end up picking up a bunch of these little patches of hay. But all that being said, I actually think I might have a little bit better yield on this paddock than I did on the other one. The windrows seem bigger to me. Of course, they could shrink a little bit by the time we get out here with the baler, but you know, time will tell. And now the question on my mind is, number one, is this gearbox hot? And it's not hot. It's feels just the same as this metal. It's warm from the sun, but it's not like heated up. And then, do we have leaks? So on the output shaft here, this seal fit up pretty good, and it doesn't look like it's leaking at all there. The input shaft, you can tell it's not leaking terribly, but it is it's kind of wanting to. And this is the one where the seal is totally, or the sealing surface, I should say, is kind of blown out. I would expect this one to leak, but it's not dripping. It's just sort of like wanting to ooze through that bearing. But I count that as a win, because we see that oozing. That means the bearing is getting grease and it's not dripping. So I'm good with that. All right, let's run this thing back home. Well, now that I got the field all raked up, it's not gonna be too much longer before I'm gonna need to get this baler put back together and hooked up to the tractor so we can go out there and bale it. And I just got back from the mailbox, and sure enough, my seal kit did show up for the hydraulic cylinder, and it even appears to be the right one. I was a little unsure because I ordered that off of eBay. They were calling it a ring kit, but the part number that they showed in the picture was correct. So I rolled the dice and took a chance, and it looks like it is correct. I would call that a seal kit, but maybe, you know, whoever listed it wasn't, I don't know, machinery savvy. At any rate, it appears to be the right one, and that's what matters. But I'm not gonna have time to get that done in this video. That's gonna have to wait for the next one. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.